Hello everyone and welcome to the MathDBase.com Anacast series. I'm your host, John Cascadio. In this installment in the Developmental Mathematics series, I will discuss Percentages, Part 3, Calculating Discounts Directly and Indirectly. Let's first look at some ways of quickly figuring out certain percentages. For example, to calculate 1% of a number, divide the number by 100, which means just move the decimal point 2 places to the left. To find 2, 3, or 4% of a number, first find 1% of the number, then multiply that result by 2, 3, or 4. To find 5% of a number, find 1% of the number and multiply by 5, or find 10% of the number and divide by 2, or divide the number by 20. To find 10% of a number, divide by 10, which means just move the decimal point 1 place to the left, or find 1% of the number and multiply that result by 10, which means just move the decimal point 1 place to the right. Percentages are additive in the sense that to find 2% of a number, for example, you can add 1% of the number to 1% of the number, or multiply a result for 1% of the number by 2. To find 15% of a number, find 10% of the number, then add half of that result again to your total, basically adding 10% of the number to 5% of the number. Other possibilities are to find 5% of the number and multiply that result by 3, or find 1% of the number and multiply by 15. Some percentages can be calculated just by doing one division or multiplication. Others can be found by finding 10%, then doing a single multiplication. To find 20% of a number, divide the number by 5, or find 10% of the number, then multiply by 2. To find 25% of a number, divide the number by 4, or find 10% of the number, then multiply by 2.5. To find 33 1/3% of a number, divide the number by 3. To find 50% of a number, divide the number by 2, or find 10% of the number, then multiply by 5. Every percentage has a simple fraction equivalent. For certain percentages of numbers, it is easiest to in turn divide the number by that fraction's denominator and multiply by its numerator. It is generally simpler to divide by the denominator first, so that the numbers that we are working with become smaller. Since 40% is equal to 40 over 100, which we can reduce to 2 over 5, to find 40% of a number, we first divide the number by 5, then multiply the result by 2. We can also find 10% of the number and multiply that result by 4. Since 66 2/3% is equal to 2 over 3, to find 66 2/3% of a number, divide the number by 3, then multiply the result by 2. Since 75% is equal to 75 over 100, which we can reduce to 3 over 4, to find 75% of a number, first divide the number by 4, then multiply the result by 3. This is the same as finding 25% of the number first, then multiplying the result by 3. Since 80% is equal to 80 over 100, which we can reduce to 4 over 5, to find 80% of a number, first divide the number by 5, then multiply the result by 4. This is equivalent to finding 20% of the number first, then multiplying the result by 4. An alternative is to find 10% of the number, then multiply the result by 8. Multiples of 10% that are close to 100% can be calculated by first finding 10% of the number, then either adding it to or subtracting it from 100% of the number. For example, to find 90% of a number, find 10% of the number and subtract it from 100% of the number, since 90 equals 100 minus 10. In this case, we can also find 10% of the number and multiply the result by 9. To find 110% of a number, first find 10% of the number and add it to 100% of the number. Any whole number percent of a number can be calculated by just multiplying by that whole number. Since 200% is equal to 200 over 100, which reduces to 2, to find 200% of a number, multiply it by 2. To find 300% of a number, multiply it by 3. To find 400% of a number, multiply it by 4. To find 1,000% of a number, multiply it by 10, etc. In business, a discount is a reduction of the usual price of a product or service. Discounts are often expressed in percentage terms of the price of the product or service. At an appliance store, a washer-dryer set ordinarily sells for $1,022. The price tag in the store reads 20% off today only. Estimate the pre-tax price. Since $1,022 is approximately $1,000, For the sake of an estimate of the price after discount, it is close enough. The straightforward method, indirectly, would be to multiply $1,000 by 20% to get $200, or divide $1,000 by 5, then subtract $200 from the sticker price for a sale price estimate of $800. A more direct approach is to realize that if there is a price discount of 20%, you are actually going to pay 80% of the original price. To calculate 80% of the price, divide $1,000 by 5 to get $200, then multiply the $200 by 4 to get $800. Sometimes there are additional discounts on sale items. At the appliance store that we just visited, there is an additional cash register discount of 10%. What is the final pre-tax price? Is that price the same as a single 30% discount? If not the same, why is one more than the other? The discounted sticker price, after applying the 20% one-day discount, is $800. After the cash register discount, the pre-tax price of the washer-dryer set is $800 times 90%, or $720 calculated directly. If there had been an initial 30% off discount, 20% plus 10%, the pre-tax price would be $1,000 times 70%, or $700, calculated directly. The reason that the 30% off discount is larger than the combination of the 20% floor and 10% cash register discounts is that the single 30% is taken of the higher amount, $1,000, and in the combination discount, the $1,000 price is only discounted by 20%, and the 10% cash register discount is on the already discounted, so smaller, $800. Generally, a succession of discounts will always be a lower pre-tax discount than a single discount of the sticker price, even though the numerical percentage adds to the same amount, as in this case, 20% off and then 10% off, as opposed to just 30% off. Mrs. Smith is entitled to a 15% senior citizens discount in addition to any other discounts in a particular store. How much does she have to pay for a $1,374.99 flat-screen TV that has a floor model discount of 35% and the sales tax is 5.5%, rounded to the nearest penny? The actual sticker price is $1,374.99, less the 35% floor model discount, or $1,374.99 times 65%, which is equal to $1,374.99 times 0.65, converting 65% into a decimal, which is equal to $893.74 to the nearest penny, calculated directly. After the senior citizens discount, Mrs. Smith's price is $893.74 times 85%, or $893.74 times 0.85, which is equal to $759.68 to the nearest penny. The sales tax on her purchase is $759.68 times 5.5%, or $759.68 times 5.5 over 100, which is equal to $759.68 times 0.055, or $41.78. So Mrs. Smith's total price is $759.68 plus $41.78, or $801.46, calculated indirectly. To calculate the final price with sales tax directly, multiply $759.68 by 105.5%, or $759.68 by 105.5 over 100, or $759.68 by 1.055, where that percentage represents the fact that we are adding the 5.5% tax to the 100% discounted price. In either case, Mrs. Smith's total amount spent will be $801.46.